Okay. Hello, Twitch chat. Hello, everybody.
Hello everyone. Uh, so let's just wait a little bit longer, see if more Pep's gonna show up for the stream, and we're gonna get right to the questions. If you guys have any question that is not on the spreadsheet, you guys are fully free to write them on chat. We will answer them as much as we can.
I will share the spreadsheet link in the Twitch chat in case you guys didn't see it. That is the spreadsheet of the link of questions.
Poor Narino.
Just laughing at Tyre's comment.
Yeah. Let's wait just like 2 more minutes. Wait for 6:10 to start it up.
Okay. Wait, did you mute yourself for Twitch?
Hmm?
Or can Twitch still hear us?
Twitch can still hear us.
Okay, just checking. Oh yeah, I should probably introduce myself when the stream starts, like who I am on Discord.
I mean, you can do it now. Stream is already up.
Aren't we still like waiting for people to join in? Or a little bit more?
uh, we can start now, I feel like.
Okay, then we start now?
Yep.
Okay. Hello everybody, I am too lazy to make a name. I'll be helping co-host, sort of, for this stream.
And for those that don't know, I am Momikami. I'm the owner of the server and the lead developer. So we are going to be answering quite a lot of questions. And to answer Anzian's question already, not only is VODs enabled, I'm also recording just in case. We're not making the same mistake twice. Okay, so let's begin then the questions.
Yes, I'll do the first one.
Mhm.
So the first question on the spreadsheet is, are you planning to add any sort of system to allow for multiple playstyles for each class? Certain servers seem to have good success of that, allowing for a lot of gameplay variety. So the answer is yes, there is a plan, and without leaking too much, the hint is it will have to do with reworking the skill advancements and EP.
Yeah, we're not going to be giving too many details as this is still in discussion between the staff and developers about how far we want to go with the rework and also checking with players. This will not, this change, whenever it happens, it will not be directly pushed to live server. We're gonna do something different when it comes to this rework, which we will give more information when it's like ready for us to gather feedback. But for now, yes, it is planned, and it has to do with skill advancement. So we can go to next one.
Yeah, sounds exciting. I'll answer next one too. Okay, the next question is, when will the achievements on Laurels be corrected? So, most of the achievements should be fixed, will be fixed in patches 1.1 and 1.2. And then some other ones that aren't fixed or that need to be added, they'll be added in the future.
Yeah, the achievements mostly gonna be getting fixed as we go. We fixed a decent patch on 1.1.1. Next patch on 1.1.2. There probably will be some that will not be done by that patch, but if they are not, they will be done on next patch. So they are all getting reworked, they are getting added, moved around, not only based on if they are working or not, but also on community feedback back on suggestions.
Oh yeah, in Twitch chat, they said change the Twitch stream. It says still says starting soon.
Oops. It's my bad. Okay, now should be. Let's let it update.
Okay, I can see on stream now. Here, the spreadsheet.
Mine's still not updated, but it looks to be good. Yes, okay. Now you guys can see what we are on. Yeah. As for laurels, they should already be corrected as of right now. They have been adjusted back on patch 1.1.1. If they are not, yeah, it's a lot of questions. If the laurels are not corrected yet, please let us know on tickets or on bug reports. But they should be way better now. But if they are not, they will be corrected as we go with the achievements. That is a lot of stuff that is slightly fucked when it comes to achievements, and yeah, we're not going to be doing them all at once. We're going to be doing them in batches. They should be all done and fixed by the time 1.2 is released, which we'll get more details in a bit. But I think this is it for this question, so let's jump to the next. This one I saw quite a few questions about. What is Crush and Lacerate and Fracture in the roadmaps? For those that do not know, we have a dev updates chat on Discord where we are posting and keeping updating our roadmap, which has a few informations and few details of what is coming up. It's not everything, it doesn't all have all of the details because we want to leave a little bit for surprise. But has the general plans. Now, these three things are new stats and the new boss mechanics that we are working on. We don't have a specific release date, nor if they will be released all three at once, but they will be brand new stats to your character, brand new boss mechanic, and so on. I already answered this question before, but I think it is worth to re-answer it again. Magic amplification, piercing, and resistance stats that were on the latest patches of retail will not be coming back at all. So we are adding some new ones to give a little bit more variety on the stats, as well as other small changes when it comes to this. Now, going again to the next question, 5. What are the plans to earn back a good player will? 1.1 was a major letdown for a lot of people due to delays and lack of real content. So, the plans, to be honest, is just to do our best on the next upcoming patches, do everything going from brand new content to content that people have been asking for, and just doing more suggestions, doing more bug reports, just doing basically what people are asking for as much as we can. Why 1.1 was a major letdown? We gave a bit of info back then, but there were main two factors that affected our 1.1 release. We fully know it was a letdown for a lot of people. And the reason it was even released was because we wanted to push the summer event, but due to some personal issues with some of the developers, including myself, I can give a little bit of a leak. I did have to deal with some wildfires due to the situation that was happening in my country, which took me a little bit off the development side. So that affected a lot, and it showed. It showed the lack of new stuff on this patch, and we have learned from it. Next patches will not be like this. We want to make sure that they are way more solid. Also, since 1.1, we have improved a bunch in terms of our planning, internal plannings, internal work, and version management, and a bunch of other stuff that allows us to fully and like take full advantage of our setups to work on multiple patches at once, so we can give you guys a lot more content, a lot quicker, and with higher quality. But yeah, we know we fucked up. We fucked up quite big on that patch. Um, I did see a lot of good feedback when it comes to the Broslamo, and we are quite happy that it turned out to be good, because we were a little bit afraid that some people were not gonna like it due to the dungeon style. But at least we think we did a pretty decent job with the boss itself, even though the remaining of the patch was quite problematic, to put it in more kind words. Um, I don't know if anyone in the stream currently has any question they want to ask in relation to the 1.1 situation. Um, but yeah, on top of all I said, we also, like I said, been improving public communication that we have been lacking a lot as well with the dev updates. I also been trying to be myself more active on the suggestions and bug report threads. I'm still quite busy with a bunch of other work, but I've been trying and will be more active when it comes to answering people's suggestions and reports, letting them know, okay, this is getting worked on, this is not being worked on because X, or this has already been done, stuff like that. Try to be as transparent with you guys as possible. I'm gonna wait a little bit, see if anyone has any questions in related to this specific one, because this one's a big. Julius, if you want to do the next two.
Okay, sure. We're gonna wait a few to see if anyone asks any questions about it, right?
Yeah.
The 1.1.
Yeah.
Okay, if you guys have any questions about that question in 1.1, you can type in chat and we can read it out loud. But in other news, looks like the Twitch drops is indeed working. I just checked it and my watch time went up. So if you guys haven't linked your Twitch account to your Arborea account, you can get the Twitch drop view hours from this. I don't see anyone asking any question about 1.1 in that question.
Yep.
So we can go to the next one then.
Yes.
Okay, the next question is, when permanent item 100% XP boost will be fixed? So, in case some people didn't know, the bug happens when you reach eye level 450 on one character, you get an item that gives you 100% XP boost, like supposedly permanently. And the bug happens is if you claim it again on another character and use it.
Yes.
That's something to do with the API, but then if you see that your item XP boost isn't a buff, then you can send a ticket and we'll fix it.
Yes. The proper fix will be deployed soon, but until then, if you have the bug where it doesn't show up, or if you know you reused it more than once on your account, just write a quick ticket. It's quite an easy fix for us to do, so it's very fast and simple to fix, at least until we do the proper fix. Now, I'm gonna answer the next one. Why updates so rare? I already answered I already kind of answered this question back on the 1.1 question above. Now that we have now that everyone is back on track and we have a bunch of other utilities and better management when it comes to this, update should no longer take the amount of time that it took for 1.1. Major patches like 1.0, like 2.0 or 3.0, those may take a little bit more than usual, since they, as the name suggests, they need to be big and have quite a lot of stuff. But it shouldn't take the same time that it took to launch 1.1, and it should be patch release should be sped up by a lot. You guys can also check on our roadmap. We have estimated release times for the next two patches. 1.1.2 being the next one will be the very next patch, which we want to release by the end of this week, this upcoming week, with 1.2 being released soon after. The date for 1.2 may have a delay or might be faster. It really depends on how the testing goes, because we are doing a lot of new content. We are going to release quite a few dungeons, and we want to make sure they are properly tested and properly and like have no bugs and whatnot. So we want to make sure it's all good. So might be a little bit late to ensure that specific point, but otherwise should be relatively set. Going to the next one. Suggestions regarding fishing. I will actually take a detour here, and I'm going to answer another question at the same time, because I feel those two are related, which is what it is. I should have placed it together with this before.
You do Control F and type fish or something.
I already found it. It's this one. So I'm going to be answering these two questions at the same time, which is to implement the fishing suggestion, and also another question that that goes by. You were talking about setting wrong priorities in the past. Why is PvP now a priority over meaning PvE changes or adding such changing content after 2 to 4 months? Both of these questions, funnily enough, are fully related. Doing PvE, our focus is always PvE. However, doing PvE takes a little bit of time because it needs to be properly tested and needs to be properly bug hunted to make sure everything's up and running. Testing usually takes quite a bit of time, and it's not really like developer intensive, since it mostly relies on the testers and whatnot. So we usually have quite a bit of time between each test runs to do other work, and this is where the PvP and fishing comes in. We want to have, despite our focus being PvE, we want to make sure that all other aspects of the game are playable and enjoyable. This going from PvP to gathering to open world and whatnot. It's not going to be the full focus, but it is something we want to do because we feel like it should at least be enjoyable to do for those that want to do it. And this goes exactly for the fishing and for goes both for the fishing and PvP. PvP is getting a little bit of love now because we have quite a few PvP people that would like to have a more enjoyable PvP experience, and we have the spare dev time to do it as of right now, since a lot of the PvP changes are not really developer time intensive. So we can squeeze it out while working on 1.2, since we are working on multiple patches at once currently. For fishing suggestion, we want to do a full rework on when it comes to fishing and also crafting and gathering. We're gonna do probably all three at once. We have a community manager and helper checking out player feedback on all of these three to build a plan. We will be posting that plan to the community to gather more feedback when it comes to these sections of the game. So they will likely be implemented at the same time. Yes, that's mostly, I think, mostly answers both of these questions. But yeah, go ahead.
I want to add, so Omi mentioned how the testing phase does take a while. If anyone is interested in wanting to help out and like help speed the process, you can apply to be tester.
Oh yeah.
And with more people, there's more options for people to test in case others are busy. And I see Tired mentioned getting a list of the upcoming dungeon rotations. Well, if you're a tester, you can see the ideas of what's coming up next.
Yes.
So that could be an incentive.
Yeah, most of the dungeons are mostly balanced and changed between both the developer side vision and feedback from testers. So we try to work together to make sure the dungeons are pretty enjoyable for both sides. But yeah, it does take quite a lot of manpower. So Going to the next question. When faces and face, back, and head accessories and footsteps for Twitch drops be added? Those will be added on 1.1.2. If you already have those rewards on your Twitch, you don't need to worry. Whenever they are added, you will automatically receive all of the previous ones, so you don't have to worry at all about this. But they will be added and sent to people on 1.1.2 release. Will login issues with the website be fixed so you don't require you to log in every single refresh? Both our logins have quite low lifetime, as in you have to relog, have to do another login every X amount of time. This is mainly done for security, so you don't have a permanent key that can be stolen, potentially stolen, then you lose your account. So we do this mostly for a security standpoint. We have not get any reports of your logins lasting very long, very low amount of time. I'm unsure who asked this question in specific, but if you are watching and want to give us a little bit more details on this case, you can open a ticket. But generally speaking, you will have to log in back every X amount of days. It's done intentionally to make sure that your account stays safe. Now for next one. Can you make world bosses guild bans less frequent? They are too often and it hurts the low population hours. So this is a two-faced question. We will not make the world bosses and guild bans less frequent. The main reason they are frequent is so people from different time zones can do them and also get the rewards from that content. However, we are aware of the low population issue, like the low population on dead hours. They are not able to do this content very well. We are working on the system though to automatically and dynamically update the boss damage, so you can still do them even if you are just like 5. So if you are 5, you will be able to do them in the same amount of time that takes 20 people to do them, and so on. So it will scale automatically based on the amount of people participating, which should help the issue that people have with these bosses during low hours, while also allowing them to do set content. So this should answer this part.
Oh, me?
Yeah, I'm seeing the chat. Oh, that's for the watch time. What do you wanted to say, Lazy?
Oh, it's about the Twitch chat. Like in the previous question, it asked about login issues.
Yes.
Like, it sounds like people usually like refresh the page every 1 to 2 hours to be sure their Twitch watch time is still increasing. So that's what that question might be referring to.
I will check with. I will put a note for our web developer to increase the lifetime of your logins on the website for to last a little bit longer. So it should not. So you should not have that issue anymore. Because if it is 1 to 2 hours, I can see how that's annoying for people that are streaming and want to keep track of their progress. Okay, so let's go to the next question. Could you make a content idea submission for inspiration of content to add? This also goes right with another question that referred to the same thing, of having a contest for new content suggestions. And to be honest, I don't know why I didn't do it before. It looks to be a very interesting idea, and I already been talking with Too Lazy. We are going to set up a contest. I'm not going to give an exact date, but we're going to set up a contest in the next week for boss and content ideas and kind of just general ideas. And if we see something interesting, it can come out as soon as 1.3. So keep an eye out for that, because I do like this idea and I kind of am curious to see what the community is gonna come up with. So next one. Will more partners with different skins be added? Crit food, healing food in general. yes, more partners will be added, and with more food options for those types, as well as partner skins. Like not only just like partners themselves, new partners, but also partner skins. As for you cannot combine pet skills, we are aware of that issue. We want to do it something different with the pets, but we still don't have anything fully concrete yet. Um, but we are once like we finish the planning and like feedback gathering for this new system, we will make sure that this works and you can combine pet skills and whatnot without a partner. About the cosmetic and art submissions. We had very little submissions, so due to this, literally every single submission that was, every single one that submitted will be receiving a reward. As such, we decided to not have any votes, since the amount of participation was very low compared to what we were expecting. Let's go. Lazy, you wanna do the question reads, just so I don't kill my voice already?
Okay, sure. Okay, so for the next question is, may add Kaya skin, purple one, the stuff we need to craft to legendary boy and Habre.
The skin itself we can add. It's I know that quite a few people like that skin. We are still unsure if we might use it later as a modified version for a new gear, but we'll most likely add it as a skin regardless. So yes, we will be adding this. Let's go to next.
Okay, next question is, would it be possible to add reroll scrolls for mask stats so players aren't overly dependent on random rolls? How often do you plan to release new custom dungeons?
So, for the first portion, for the masks, we don't plan to add any rerolls. We are thinking in potentially increasing the drop rates on them a little bit, but every gear, in at least our idea, needs to have at least a little bit of RNG. And the mask is the only pure RNG part of the gear. Everything else is quite easily to obtain with a little bit of grind. So for now, the masks will not have a reroll option. They may have later on a new mask, but the current mask will not have that. As for new custom dungeons, custom dungeons do take a little bit more time than the average dungeon. In terms of balancing, it's about the same time, but they need to be properly bug hunted, so we don't have another observatory case. And we also need to create the models, effects, all of that, which takes a lot more time than a normal dungeon. So when it comes to custom dungeons, brand new ones like Azir's and Broslamo, those will be a little bit more rare. We want to do them at least, we want to do a few every main patch. So not just one, but more than one on every main patch. For sub patches, we plan to do reworks, which can go from complete boss reworks, giving another example of the observatory. That does not mean it's going to be the same style, but as in picking an old boss that is not really used anymore and giving it a complete head-to-toe overhaul to make it a more engaging boss for endgame content. And also some other smaller reworks that we plan to do. But as for like complete brand new dungeons, they do take a little bit of time to do. However, you can expect a few ones coming quite soon. I will put it this way. Let's go to next.
Okay, the next question is, are there any plans for extended content in the world? What's the feasibility of adding new quests, content zones, etc.? Any chance of solo challenge content out in the world?
I actually already semi-answered this question above. This is the part where we want to make sure that every part of the game is enjoyable. So we will be adding a bunch of these for the open world, solo challenges in open world, etc. I will not be giving a specific date as to when we will release this rework, but we do plan to rework we plan to do a massive reworks on the open world, leveling, gathering, crafting, and whatnot, as a side kind of as a side project. So we will be keeping most of our resources focused on PvE, with this being worked on the side and released as we go. Kinda like we are doing with PvP. While we are working on the patch 1.2, we are releasing some PvP patches and bug fixes and suggestions. So you guys have something new and more stuff to do while waiting for the main content, so to speak. Let's go to next.
Okay. Any chance this server will receive an update to PR module? It's better for many classes than NGSP.
Short answer, no. We will not support PR in any way. It's not the PR is allowed to be used as long as it's not being used for some kind of exploit, but generally speaking, it is allowed to be used. However, we will not support PR at all. As it comes to NGSP, as we have said before, we are working on an in-house emulation, so our own emulation mod that will have the most up-to-date and be hopefully better than PR and NGSP for everything. However, this will take a little bit of time. The first emulation should be released soon TM for a single class, and we plan to release classes as we go. So we're not going to be releasing the entire thing at once. We're going to release, like, let's give an example. We're going to release Warrior or Lancer first, then release another class, then another class, then another class, so on, until all of them are done. Let's go to next.
You said we would get dungeon rotations every 3 months. Are there any plans to get on the schedule anytime soon?
For rotations, 1.2 will have not only will have new dungeons, we'll also be removing a few that we know people do not enjoy. I'm gonna give a leak here. BRH is one that is getting yeeted out, as most people do not like that dungeon. So it is getting completely removed and replaced by another dungeon that is coming. I might do an event later on with the fish, mainly because I find it really funny, but BRH is getting yeeted out. And some other dungeons will also be replaced. As for a full rotation will happen on 2.0. However, we are thinking in potentially doing things slightly different. However, this will be a public vote. So whenever we have a more consistent alternative plan that we think might be nicer, we will be posting a vote and letting the community decide, okay, we want this, we want the normal full rotation, or we want this new, slightly different rotation method. We will let you guys decide on it, but first we want to get a little bit more polished on the details, etc., so everyone has a more clear vision. Is there a chance of CSH returning? Yes, there is a chance. I will not say when. Every single dungeon, we're looking basically, every single dungeon will likely come at some point, be it a vanilla version or a reworked dungeon, or a reworked version. I will be touching on this topic a little bit later on another question, but all dungeons are open season, let's put it this way. They can be picked. Next question I believe we already answered. To add more open world content, it's more interesting than world BAMs and GBAMs. Yes, it will be part of the open world rework. I was talking a little bit later. So we're gonna mostly gloss over it. I will let Lazy take over for a bit. Assuming he didn't fall asleep.
Oh, my bad. The question is, will the train shop be updated anytime soon? Sorry, I had to mute for a second.
It's all good. It will be updated. I will not be saying exactly in what at what time. Um, and I will actually be answering a very common question I've been seeing, which is related to calendar. We know it's not really working properly. My intention was to fully disable calendar and bring back a new system using the train as well that would have similar function, so to speak, as calendar, but be way more reliable and less buggy. However, I've seen a lot of people that were sad and wanted calendar to be back, so we re-enable it for now. However, the plan is for later to completely remove calendar, introduce a new system that is similar to it, and it will involve the train shop. So both of those will come at the same time. Um, for the 20th question, boss concept, the boss concept contest. I have answered this already above as well. We want to do this, and we will be doing this week. I honestly did not have this idea, but I want to do it, so we will set up a contest for this specific topic this week, so stay sharp about it. This question we also already answered, so we're gonna skip it. Add Velik Sanctuary, Sky Cruiser, Kelsaic, I'm not gonna attempt to say that name, I feel like I'm gonna butcher it, and Manaya. As I said previously, all dungeons are open to be added. We will not be giving leaks right now of which ones are coming on 1.2 and which ones are planned to come in the future. However, I will give the leak that 2 of these is coming on 1.2. 2 of them. I'm not gonna say which ones, you're gonna have to wait for posts on the previews to know which one they are. You're gonna have to wait a little bit, Rimaru.
Okay, for our next question, 10-man raids exist, but they rarely happen due to low population and lack of tank/DPS. Would you consider adapting raid content for smaller groups? Example, 5 to 7 players? Right now, one dungeon can drop a Silver Phoenix mount as a rare reward. Are there plans to expand unique dungeon? Oh, this question's really long.
Yeah.
To expand dungeon rewards. Oh, it even goes through to... I can't see it all the way.
And unique dungeon rewards, mount titles, accessories to give player more motivation to run different instances. Short answer, it really depends. We need to split this question in a few parts. Adapting raids to 5-mans. We have plans to do this, but not to the current raids. As I personally, and I think other ones in the team agree, that the current raids don't really fit a 5-man. I think they don't really play well for a 5-man dungeon due to how long they are, and also the paths that you can take on both dungeons. So we don't think they are good candidates to be converted to 5-man. However, the same cannot be said about a lot of other raids. So we plan to bring the same version of the same dungeon, but had a 5-man and the raid version of the same ones. But yeah, it is planned, just not for the 2 current raid dungeons. As for the more interesting loot, we have a few ideas how to improve them. We are also fully open to suggestions about this very topic, so if any of you guys have a cool idea of what we can do in terms of rewards or even achievements for the specific dungeons, you are more than free to suggest them. It is something we want to improve, but we are still discussing what path we should take and what methods we should use. So the more suggestions we get on this topic, the better it would be. So if you guys have any ideas about this, feel free to suggest them. And I think that's it for this question, so let's go to the next.
Do you plan to focus on proper group content, 5-man dungeons and raids, instead of wasting resources on solo or 3-man dungeons that only split the player base?
Um, this question goes mainly to the other response. Um, most of the 3-man and solo changes we made were quick changes that did not take much developer time, so they were mostly side project changes. As we said before, our main focus is PvE and group PvE, aka 5 and 10-man dungeons. However, we feel like we should have options for other players, so they are a side project as well, and that's where the solo and 3-man dungeons go into. We plan to improve the system a bit because we feel like Ace dungeons are still really powerful, but it is something we want to rework later with a dungeon rotation, make sure that both systems, both the dungeon system and solo system, play nicely together. So we don't have another issue, so to speak. Um, I will take care of this one as well. So, would be it perhaps impossible to add more self-restoration options when you're still learning dungeons, especially as a healer? This really depends. You can get the res scrolls, the self-res scrolls, the goddesses, from the daily request system, which we do plan to give a little bit more of a polish on the upcoming patches. And that's mostly it for endgame. For early game, you do have a lot of free reses until you get skilled. However, for endgame, it kind of defeats a lot of the purpose of endgame if you can just resurrect and just face tank a lot of mechanics. So for the most part, the pure endgame will not have any extra resurrects, but we could potentially increase a little bit more of the possible reses until skilled on the lower content. And as for the question in chat, but the prices of the scroll is like 8k. Yes, we are aware that the prices are a little bit on the high side. As I also alluded a little bit early, we do plan to give a good polish to the request system, which will take care of the prices as well. They will not be for 1.1.2, but it is planned to be for 1.2. But I will not give full guarantees that it will be fully polished by then. It should, but we're gonna have to wait a little bit and see. I will let you read the next one.
Okay. Is there any answer to helping low-level dungeon queues? There has to be some incentive to help new players queue into things. If you're experienced, you've probably banked enough low-level mass to last your lifetime. Is this something that is on the roadmap? A level for best-in-slot max-level people to actually queue for low stuff?
So for this topic, I also have to split it into two parts. First, it would be to help. So we have a system planned that will give quite good incentive for endgame players to help play low content. However, the problem with this system is it does not play well with the current dungeon system that we have. We are trying to come up with a way to implement both, to implement that new system into the current dungeons. However, it's not the easiest thing to do. I'm not going to leak what that system that we are working on is, but it is something that will be fixed on the dungeon rotation, and we are trying to come up with a system, trying to come up with a way to implement that system into the new, into the current dungeons and dungeon system. And this goes again, if you guys have any suggestions relating to this question, you are also more than welcome to suggest them. I've been trying to read all of the suggestions I can. Not gonna say I can read them all, but I'm trying to read all of them, and this is very helpful info, because sometimes people come up with the best ideas out of nowhere, and sometimes that's us, sometimes that's the community. It's basically kind of a free-for-all when it comes to coming up with a great idea. So if you have ideas for this, feel more than free to suggest them. But yes, we have a new system plan to fix this. We're just not sure yet how to implement it to the current dungeons. Um, let's go to next.
Okay. Can you make IMQ status more responsive so everyone knows what is being queued and where, and not to wait 5 minutes?
This is one of the things that I cannot answer because I have not looked into how this part is handled. So I cannot personally say if we can improve the responsiveness or not. But it is something we want to look up with the answer to the next question, which actually is a repeat, which shouldn't be. These two are repeated. But we can leak another part, which is we are also planning to add AI teammates, especially tanks, and potentially other classes in the future to help the lower queues. And when we do this, we want to make sure that we also make the instance matching a little bit more responsive, and also potentially have an option for you to enable this feature or not. So if you want to queue but you don't want to play with AI teammate, you can opt out of it, or you can just stay opt in. And if you don't queue for an X amount of time, you get an AI teammate. These two are mostly linked, so whenever we do one of them, we will do the other. Now going to the next one, Sanguinary Infernal Mode. It is something we can do later, and this would be interesting to see ideas for this on the contest that we're gonna make. I feel like this could be an interesting dungeon to see what people could come up with. And we'll also do the next. Would you make a player poll for dungeons we like? This has two possible ways to do it. That is general discussion of changes or a general poll. Discussions we will not do. Discussions are already chaotic enough internally that we feel like if we do this discussion fully publicly, it would be an even bigger chaos. However, we are thinking in doing potential public votes to pick between a few dungeons. So we would pre-select a list of dungeons and then let the community pick, okay, between of these lists, which ones you guys want, or you prefer something else. So this should tackle this. Why is there only custom dungeons in 450? This is technically not true, since you do have a normal mode of Azirs and at early game. However, they are mostly on 450 because we felt like they should be a little bit on the higher. And also, to be honest with the community, it is easier to make hard dungeons than it is to make easy dungeons. A lot of the dungeons we made during development, especially for the custom ones, a lot of them were way too hard, and we had to tune it down a bunch. And then you guys basically saw the way tuned down version of them in the live server. So that is that problem. That's why we don't have as many early game custom dungeons, simply because it's easier to do the hard ones. However, we do plan to give more love to the early game dungeons. So you can expect to see a few reworks or even new dungeons at the early game for the next patches. I will let you ask the next ones.
Okay, this one doesn't look like a question, but it looks like a suggestion. It says, ask to the PvE fellows who don't want to PvP. What is necessary for them to play PvP?
We have not done it yet because PvP was extremely broken and extremely unbalanced. But now that we are giving it a little bit of love, we also plan to ask not only our PvE testers, but also a little bit more on the community, what they would also like to see on the PvP side. If they saw this, it would be more interesting for them to do it. However, as I've alluded multiple times before, PvP is a side project of us. So if if PvE calls for it, PvP will be left to the side until we finish our main PvE tasks. Um, I will do the next one as well. Can you fix the floor in custom dungeons? I'm assuming this question is talking about Broslamo and Observatory, since those two are kind of known for not displaying those effects correctly. Um, I'm not gonna give too much information. However, for Broslamo, it will not be fixed. It's gonna stay for now as it is. Since it is a event dungeon and it's soon going to be rolled out as we are approaching Halloween, so it doesn't make sense to have a summer dungeon for much longer. So this will be most of what I'm gonna say about this issue. Next one. How is guild scoring instance work and when can we expect them? I cannot answer neither of those two questions. We are still discussing internally how we want to handle the guild scoring. We want to do something like this because we find it to be quite interesting and gives a little bit more meaning to guilds. However, we don't have a full setup plan that we can publicly talk about because it would be completely up to change. So even if I leaked how we're planning to do it now, it could completely change in the future. So I prefer to not go into it in detail for now. When can we expect them? You can potentially expect.
Did I lag?
Quick apologies, my headset kind of died.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not gonna give a date of when this guild scoring instance will be released, but it will not be earlier than 1.3. This is something for 1.3 or later. Not gonna give a specific date because we still need to figure out all the details and how exactly we want to do them. Next part. I will also do, though I will do all three at once, because these all three involve the healers. We are currently aware that Mystic does perform quite a lot more, performs quite a lot well than Priest. We are looking into adjusting the buffs to make sure that they are mostly equal. So it should be, you can expect them very soon. Quite some fixes for priests. They will be buffed, yes. As for convenience in parties, both classes will get a few quality of life improvements. I'm not gonna say which ones, neither when they will come up, but both will get a few more quality of lives to them. And the priest will be buffed to match mystics better, because mystics at the moment, for what we've seen, it's performing quite more than the priests. So we're gonna do a few adjustments on that, make sure they are performing about the same while keeping their own identity. As for Kaya doing Edict, we have answered this before. We will not be allowing Kaya during Edict. We have added a shield on Arise when you are in Edict. So if you're in Edict and you use Arise, you get a very small shield with anti-knockdown and anti-push. So it's basically a mini Kaya. So it allows you guys to do a few shield mechanics while on Edict. However, we will not be allowing the full Kaya because Kaya combined with Holy Burst, it becomes kind of busted. So we have decided to not implement this at all, and instead we did the Arise, the enhanced Arise skill. We'll let now Lazy take over a little bit.
Okay, wow, this is a really long question. Okay, hello,
They are three
I
of
am
them.
one of the living...
There are three different questions.
I know, but this one's... Okay. Hello, I am one of the living reapers on the server. I play 450 dungeons. I want to know if you'll have any changes for my class. First of all, I want to see a change in the Shadow Lash buff. It's a really good buff, but update it with a 30-second interval becomes terrible, and also after death, In a difficult dungeon, you have to regain stacks. And the second is the priority of Shadow Burst over Sundering Strike. Will there be changes to Sundering Strike over Shadow Burst along with the new return of Bloodlust, like Old Reaper? Thanks for your work.
Currently we don't have as many Reapers on PvE testers to test some of the changes we want to do. However, this is mostly a topic to be discussed within the Reaper's post, since we don't want to change a class based on a single person's input, for obvious reasons. However, we are aware that Reaper does have a few issues. We want to do them, but we need a little bit more manpower when it comes to Reapers, and a little bit more discussion as well. I will take the next one. Can you make some classes, Brawl Warrior and Berserker, be able to queue multiple roles in a dungeon? This goes back to the other EMS related question. Yes, I thought of doing this as well. We probably will be doing this with the instance matching changes that we plan to do to also allow AI teammates to join you. Depending on how the AI development goes along, we may release the instance matching changes early and then launch the other one. But you can expect both the responsiveness and the multi-queue to come somewhat soon-ish. And last question. Any plans to promoting the server to attract more players? Would consider returning players, events to bring back old Terra veterans, and plans to collaborate with streamers, YouTubes to increase the visibility. In terms of returning players, I myself have a few ideas, but I still have not discussed them with the rest of the team. But it is something I do kind of want to tackle on. I cannot tell exactly when, but I do want to tackle some returning events. As for collaboration, in terms of streamers, we already have our streamer rewards program, which we feel like should attract a little bit more streamers and whatnot. However, collaboration is a little bit tough because there's not many streamers that do stream Terra. It's mostly players that stream it, and there's like not many dedicated streamers, so it puts the collaboration a little bit harder. We do plan to do a collaboration on YouTube though. I will give more details to it later. But yes, we have plans for advertisement for YouTube and also for returning players. However, I also cannot give too much details on it yet. To answer Code Bash question, I already answered that question earlier. We had very few posts on both the art and clip contests. So we decided to not do votes and just reward every participant, since there were very little people that participated. And this should cover all of the questions we have on the forum. So if any of the people watching want to ask questions, now it's the time.
Yes, feel free to ask your questions. Good job
Yes.
for answering all the questions, Omi. That's a lot.
Yeah. But yes, first prize for everyone that participated. Yes. It will be distributed soon. Let's wait a little bit, see what questions the people will have.
Yes, if you have any questions, just type it in the chat.
Yes, I am aware that Terra logs are not getting some of the uploads correct. The plan for now is to do a full update with Terra logs at 1.2 release. Make sure all of the bosses, both old and new, get pushed. Everything shows correctly. I also am aware of a few buffs and skills that don't show correctly on Terra logs. All of those are going to get fixed for 1.2. The contest has finished, so there's no more submissions to them. Um, is healer damage on PvE getting buffed slightly? It's a bit nerfed. Uh, as far as I'm aware, it was not. It was not nerfed at all since release. Uh, Priest is getting a slight buff on the buffs, but for now, damage will be staying.
If you have questions, feel free to type it in chat.
Um, is there something the dev can do to make the game smoother? Smoother in terms of ping or in terms of FPS? We have a few ideas of what the cause can be. We are still testing them on selected people to make sure that they actually work. Um, so you can expect slight improvements as we go. It's not gonna be on a major patch. We are looking for barriers on various possible causes and various fixes, and we are testing them. Like I said, on selected people that we know have some issues when it comes to FPS, and we will be deploying them as we go, and stuff is set. Manual leveling reward event. That would be interesting to do. However, I'm not sure if that would be something that most of the community would want to on the current leveling process. It is something that would be very cool when we do some leveling rework, but at the moment we could do a manual leveling event. However, we would need a little bit more feedback from the community if that would be something they would like to see. Oh, speaking of events, I also gonna leak a little bit of an extra thing. For those that noticed on our dev updates, there was a little line that was to implement a better event schedule. So you can expect a lot more frequent events as we go, both normal double drop events to double vanguards, double etc., as well as some custom ones. One example would actually be the manual leveling one. If people would like to see it, would enter on this schedule. We will be posting more information about it as soon as we have everything set in place, but you can expect a lot more events. By classic event, could you give a little bit more details? A classic event as like an event from retail or a more like general event. There are a few interesting ones we could look into doing, yes. As I also alluded on the manual leveling, I think this is something that would be good on a suggestion post so we can measure what other people in the community think of said events. Because there is a lot of events that were kind of cool from retail that we could implement. It's most of a question of picking which one. Yes, like I said, we to answer SEO, yeah, we have a few ideas of the causes, but it does take a little bit of time to test and make sure everything is set in place. Estimated date for 1.2 and 1.1.2 are written on dev updates. Dev updates not only have a few points and plans of upcoming stuff for the patches, but also have estimated release times for the two most recent patches.
In case the viewers don't know, the dev updates channel is in the Arborea Discord. It's like
Yes.
near the top of the Discord. It's a channel called Dev Updates.
Yes, if you want to get notified whenever we update it, you can also pick the dev update role that you can find on the assigned roles chat right at the top of the Discord. As for Halloween event, I'm not gonna leak it yet. Yet. We gotta leave some surprises for previews. At the moment, kind of. We have a total of 4 active developers. 5 active developers. However, they are dedicated to specific parts of the entire project. So that is that. Yes. But we could use 1 or 2 more. And same for artists. The more artists we have, the better. We have a few more artists on trial that do have quite a lot of work. Some work people have been asking for, so you can expect some cosmetics coming back. If you aren't sure, if you want to apply for helping on anything related to the game, you can create a ticket. It's technically speaking not what tickets are supposed to be used for, but it gets the job done. No, we did not answer any question regarding Sork's damage. However, if the class is indeed struggling, we will give it a little bit of love. As for the pay-to-win items, we do want to avoid doing it, but at the same time, it becomes basically not having pay-to-win items is good and bad. As in, it is good because the community does not have to swipe to get items, which we think some of them are not really justified. But also puts a lot of value and a lot of stored value within tickets, which is something we want to change a little bit in the future. So you can expect a ticket change soon, TM. However, for pay-to-win items, I'm not gonna say we won't do it, but it will be very unlikely. We kind of want to avoid it, but we might do it. At least 1 or 2, or a new pack. For now, in terms of like payments, we do want to implement, this is on the dev updates, we do want to implement a new method for Russia and other sanctioned countries to be able to make purchase if they so please to do so. So that's kind of the main update in terms of shop that we want to do. Just add another option for those people. Since their only option is crypto, which most people do not like, and it's fully understandable why. So we are looking for an option for that. But yeah, in terms of pay-to-win items, it's going to be quite a discussion. What changes to ticket? We want to separate it a little bit, kind of like we did with fashion coupons, and update the price tables a little bit. But we will make sure that we do not. We'll be making 100% sure that whatever we change it's going to like not make people unhappy. So we don't have to worry about it. All the changes we make will be to make the system better and nicer for you guys. We have no plans to make to like completely fuck up the market, so to speak. There was also another question I've been seeing about the suggestions. As I've also alluded before, we've been trying to be more active when it comes to bug reports and suggestions, and letting you guys know what's happening, what's the side of each suggestion. And we will be implementing a lot more. The patch 1.1.1 was just the beginning of it. Some will not be added, either because they conflict with other systems, or they are not possible, or simply conflict with other suggestions, and so on. We cannot implement every single suggestion, but we are looking to improve all of this, because we know we have been lacking on this department. We feel like, when it comes to Ace Dungeons, we feel like it is quite busted as it is right now. And we wanted to nerf it. That was the objective of that change. However, we think we overdid it quite a lot based on the community's reaction to it. Sadly, we did not have time due to the complications that arose during 1.1 patch. I'm not going to enter on details of what exactly happened, but let's just say quite some shit hit the fan. Not because of anything, but basically was a broken update that fucked quite a few things up and made the maintenance last the exorbitary amount of time that it took. So we did not really have time to revert it to something more in between what the community and we wanted. So we opted to just fully revert it. But we plan to touch Ace Dungeons slightly more, but only in the future. We don't want a repeat of that situation. Let's see if more people have more questions. If not, we're gonna wrap the stream up.
Oh yeah, I wanted to ask Twitch chat. What do you guys think of the stream? Like, is the sound okay? Is the stream okay? Do you guys find those fair? Any criticism or anything? Wait, there is music? I can't even hear the music.
The music should be very, very on the background. I'm not sure even what music it's playing right now. Okay, I see which one. I just put the small playlist that I had for like more chill music, just to have it as a background. Oh yeah, for
Okay,
those.
so they said it was low, I guess.
I mean, for those people that arrived late, we will be posting the entire stream VOD on our YouTube channel. We will make a small announcement later. So you guys can go through the entire stream if you want to. We will also later on, I'm not going to give a date because this might take a bit of time, we're going to release a document with all the questions and answers we gave during the stream. But you can expect soon after the stream ends to see the VOD posted on YouTube and also on Twitch.
Oh yeah, Omi, I wanted to ask. I saw in the priest channel they were talking about how like Plague of Exhaustion, like the lock-on, the second part of it wouldn't work sometimes. And I was wondering, is there any info on that?
I'm personally not I personally don't do many class changes. I mostly focused on basically everything else, including infrastructure and everything else in-game. But I usually don't handle the class part, so I'm not 100% sure if that is the case. But if it is having an issue, I'm sure that our dedicated class developer will get to it soon.
Okay.
I am still in the stream. Still.
They want to know more about you. Hey, maybe you could tell them like how you came up with your name of Omikami.
To be brutally honest, was a suggestion from a friend.
And then George called you a weeb.
He's not completely wrong. I mean, I play Wuwa, so there's that.
Any other questions in Twitch chat? Oh, there's one.
That is not a donate, so to speak. If you go in game, you can access the shop from there, which you can buy a ticket, the starter pack, and other stuff. But there is no like full donation. Soon, Silky, soon. I did not forget about those. Don't worry. But yeah, we don't have donation. You can. We don't feel like donate people donating and getting nothing in return doesn't seem 100% fair. So. What's the most fun in making a Justin Zodi game? I mean, the fun part, at least for me, is creating new content. I had a lot of fun making the Valk boss and other content, custom content. That is pretty, at least I find it very fun to do. However, there is a lot of parts in the game that are quite boring. Like, I think boring is the best word to describe it. Do we get the plus 15 wings on weapon? I'm not entirely sure what that refers to. What's the process to create dungeons? I'm not gonna go enter in much detail, but it really depends on what dungeon we're talking about. If we're talking about brand new dungeon, you first need to fully plan it out, see, okay, we're gonna have this boss, we're gonna have this idea for it with this mechanics, and then create the model, effects, whatnot. Then you actually need to, then after all of that is done, that's where you start the implementation. A lot of the plan does change during implementation due to some stuff acting weird or just having a better way to do it. And as well, at least for me, I like when I'm doing a new dungeon myself, this goes mainly to Valk. We have like the main plan for the Valk boss, but then as I was doing it, I was coming up with new stuff that sounded cool, and a lot of it stayed. There is quite a few mechanics and few different stuff from Valk boss that was never released. A few people know about what I'm talking about, but there was a lot of stuff that she has disabled or straight up removed, which may or may not come later on a harder version. We will see. Sorry to disappoint you, Cold Bash, but you got it. Um, Bro Slam was not made by me. Bro Slam was made by Nirk, which is a developer we have. Um, I believe the death animation was supposed to be a different one, but he made that one by mistake, and it was so hilarious that we decided to keep it instead. I don't remember that wing effect from plus 15, but that is something I could look into. But I could not, but I don't remember the exact effect. I mean, the same way we try to credit all of the artists in game for the work they do, I also like to do the same for developers. Oh, the wig effect is the one on the glow thread. That's it. I can make that one happen. Let's see if there is any more questions um, related to the game that you guys may want to ask.
Oh, did you see the weapon glow part? I can link it.
Yeah, I know the thread.
Okay.
I'm not gonna give too many details on that part, but let's just say it's the same.
What is Shima gear? I see it on Twitch chat.
I'm also trying to think of what that is, but I don't recall. At least that name is not familiar to me.
I don't know what that is either. Can you guys elaborate what that is? The Shima gear or Shizma gear?
Old gear. I myself started on Terra quite late in Terra's life, so it's probably something that happened before I even I even started playing Terra myself.
I started Terra in 2020, so I have no idea.
I mean, I started in 2019. Interesting.
I'm guessing we're talking about the weapon glow. The
Yeah.
wings or something?
Yep. I mean, I can look into that old gear, see what you have. Could be something interesting for the new stuff. It would, yes. To answer Maxi. And a lot of old stuff, whenever I see them, I'm like, this has a lot of like potential too for the new stuff. Tio was kind of an experiment when it came to that part, since Tio is the observatory boss is based on an Argon Corpus boss. So on top of it being an experiment on terms of dungeon style, it was also an experiment of what people would think of picking older bosses from unused dungeons or old dungeons, giving them some brand new mechanics and brand new stuff, and see what they think of it as more like end game content, so to speak. Which, based on what I see, the reception was pretty okay for him. If we don't count the bugs that we I'm not gonna say much of what's gonna happen with OVH, or in this case Observatory. Um, However, it is a weird dungeon because we've been fixing it even before patch 1.1 came out. We fixed most bugs. We tested them. Everything seemed to be perfect. We launched it and it still has bugs. My headset. Anyways, going back to Observatory, it's that type of dungeon that we tested a bunch and it still had some bugs missing. So it's it's still unclear if you're gonna eat it or if you're gonna attempt to fix it again. I have seen people complaining about the 10% waves. Um, it is one of the mechanics that did not happen before due to a slight bug, or when it comes to the when it was the that phase was a little bit of a bug that allowed you to basically fully skip it. Um, if we decide to go with the fix route, we will be adjusting it. However, as of right now, I'm not gonna say if it's going to get replaced or if it's going to get fixed. It's still not fully decided. Because we know a lot of people dislike it because of the dungeon style. Being a dungeon, you have to move quite a lot. But we also know that is quite a lot of people that enjoy it. So we are in that in that point.
Yeah, I hear a lot of priests and melee classes. They don't like all the movement to like going to orbs.
Yeah, that's the main complaint of. If we ignore the bugs, those are absolutely fair. Nothing to to go about on them. Um, if we take that off, I see that the main complaint of people it is the movement, which was made by design. We wanted to experiment with this type of dungeon. Um, but it is one of the parts of the game that we feel like we need to have dungeons with different styles because different people have different dungeons and different play styles than others. So some people will like dungeons like TO, other people will not like them. So you're gonna have to kind of strike a balance. Can you add a skill for Zergs that was in retail version of the game, meaning leaping strike while unleashing? I never heard of that being a thing on retail. This probably was something that was added after I quit retail. Um, but it is something we could potentially add in the future. well, Gilliglade update. That is something we also can look into it. Of Brawler's Fury replenishment skill CD after death. The Brawler part would be something to be discussed within the Brawler thread, as it is something good and also something bad about it. As for Gilly, it could be updated. However, probably would only be updated on 1.2. But we could give it a little bit of love. Well, let's give another 10 minutes for people to ask some more questions, and then let's wrap it up.
Oh yeah, good idea. Cause almost GBAM, right? And Civil Unrest.
Yes, GBAM should actually be active already. Should have already been active. Well, people.
Oh yeah, that patch.
Yeah. However, CU is very soon. That skill was around a year before the game shut down. Yeah, I myself was not playing during that time. But it's something we could potentially add, yes. If that's something that the Zergs would like to see.
Oh, GBAM was up while we were doing the stream.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Sunday thing.
Yeah, on Sunday it spawns 1.5 hours before CU. When is Zerg getting nerfed? In terms of we want to play a lot, we want to change a lot when it comes to healer/tanks buffs and damage. So unless a class is extremely busted, it will likely not be changed until that I'm not gonna call it a rework because it's not really a rework, more of a rebalance on the healer and tank buffs. When they will stop using cheats. We know that some people are using. We're gathering, but at the same time we are gathering as much data as we can and improving all of our anti-cheat systems, so soon TM they will not be able to use most. We thought of doing that. if it's gonna happen or not, that's a different question.
I think the Medmas already did it. I don't know if they kept doing it or if they stopped.
For future custom dungeons, our plans to make something similar to OBS with more traditional mechanics that involve positioning, movement instead of typical Terra press iframe. My plan, personal plan, this could change depending on more factors, but my plan is to do both. I feel like having the variety of having more traditional dungeons and more fast-paced iframe focused dungeons to not be as bad, but my plan it is to have both. Have some that are more traditional, some that are more fast-paced. I don't have intentions of doing just one style. We also may experiment with other styles in the future, but that will be that will be something for the future. I have questions in it. Wasn't there a GM event that had the math questions? Gonna bring back Killing Grounds at some point. Um, Probably, however, a fully reworked version. Possibly. Most of the dungeons, including later retails, including Fusion Lab, Frozen Throne, Killing Grounds, Lumican, and other dungeons, both very new and old. We plan to use them all. They might be vanilla, they might have some reworks on it, they might be a complete overhaul like Observatory. It really will depend on the dungeon and ideas we have at the time. We have answered that question during the stream. For the two current raid versions, no, I don't think they will fit a 5-man. They have multiple pathing, a lot of mobbing. Doesn't really feel like a dungeon that would play well with only 5 people. However, for other raid dungeons, we may have both versions, both 10 and 5-man, or just a 5-man, or just 10-man. Will depend on the community feedback and what fits more the patch and its placement. But yes, that is planned to make raid dungeons 5-man, just not 2 current ones. I mean, that's basically the 3-man versions are, technically speaking, 5-man version dungeons. The main difference between a 3-man, 5-man, and 10-man is literally just balancing. It's basically the only difference between each one. Depends on what type of macros we're talking about. If it is macros that just allow you to just spam keys or repeater macros, or simple stuff like that, it's fully allowed. However, if you do use macros to do something that is not humanly possible, then it's not allowed. But when it comes to 5-man and 3-mans and whatnot, we plan to add a few more, but really gonna depend on the content progression, where they are getting released, as well as community feedback. That is true, Too Lazy. Completely forgot about that guy.
Just most parties usually kill it before it can do the in and out.
Oh well, let's see if people ask 1 or 2 more questions, and then let's wrap it up. The classic. Oh, the full version of Gilliglade.
It's a
That could.
full version?
Yes. Democrat's Factory. That is something that has been in the talks. May be released, may not be released. Not gonna give too many details on that. As for macros, as I said previously, if that macro allows you to do something that you cannot do without one, so it's just, for example, you can change something that you normally cannot change regardless of how fast you are. That's considered cheating. However, if it's just a repeater that does something that you can do it normally, then it's not. As I said, in terms of dungeons, most of them will be released. It's always a question of which patch it will be. We plan to do a few public votes for later patches, um, to like allow the community to decide between a list of dungeons. We kind of have to have a specific list, otherwise it can get really chaotic. But we plan to allow people to vote on like dungeons between a predefined list. We answered this question as well earlier, but yeah, when it comes to content discussion, stuff tends to get chaotic really quickly.
I think in the other server, they did that. They had like a community vote, and then the dungeons that won, a lot of people were like, "Who chose this dungeon?" So it's like hard to satisfy everybody.
Yeah, you need to take a lot in consideration. It is good, regardless of the votes. It's still really good information. Because if you do a vote with internal data of what dungeons are getting ranked the most and general feedback from people, you can kind of get a clearer picture of what people would like to have. I can say that most of the upcoming dungeons for patch 1.2 will be vanilla, since we have a lot of people asking for more vanilla dungeons. Um, However, not all of them. Some may be, let's just say, a little bit modified. Just a little bit, if you guys get what I mean. But anyways, I'm gonna wait 1 or 2 more minutes, see if there is any more questions, and then we're gonna wrap the stream up. Oh, it won't be. We don't use content from other servers or cosmetics from other artists without permission. We do have a few plans for Phantom's Hideout. That dungeon will, I can do this leak, the Phantom's Hideout will not be rotated out. However, we will be updating the dungeon, so rotating the bosses inside, potentially reworking the systems of the dungeon a bit, but the dungeon itself is planned to stay for quite some time. Just have continuous updates on it. We may also change the location to just add a little bit more variety or a little bit more visual changes to it, so it's not always the same thing all over again. if there is no more questions, we will then wrap up the stream and upload the VOD. We will be letting you guys know when the VOD is uploaded. We may add announcements or not. We're still unsure if we will or not do the ping, but we'll be posting the entire VOD over on YouTube today and letting you guys know. If you have other questions, you can always ask them either on chat or ask them directly. We try to answer everything. Not stuff slip up. We might not be able to answer, like I said, every single thing, but we try to. But yeah. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of the day and see you. That is about to happen. And yeah, we will keep you guys updated on news with previews and other stuff, so you guys know what's going to be coming and also have more updates on stuff. And yeah, thank you guys, and we will be then closing the stream. I'm not sure if Lazy wants to say something before we wrap it up.
Okay, thank you for answering all those questions, Omi. That was a lot.
Yeah. It has to be done. And we plan to also do more frequent dev streams, not just for QnA, but also for like showcases or even game streams. We might do a few, just as as an extra. But yes, let's then wrap it up. And yeah, thank you guys for your time and for all the questions, and hope you guys enjoy the game. And see you guys.
Yeah. See you guys. You're gonna be in CU? I'll see you there. Have a good rest of your day or night.